Hello my friends, welcome back to our cozy space here on YouTube. Here we talk about spirituality and we use meaning making tools such as astrology and tarot in order to help empower you and to help you become your most true self. And today we're talking about the most authentic full moon of the year, which is the full moon in Aries. I'm really excited to be talking to you about this lunation precisely because of that. The full moon is going to be happening on the 7th of October at around 5 a.m. GMT time. And it's going to be asking us a really important question, which is, how does action become effortless? How do people make it look so easy? And how can taking action not feel straining, draining, and like something that is an actual chore? First of all, I want to ask you, how are you all doing? What have you been up to? This eclipse season has been insane. Over the weeks of between the two eclipses, a lot has come up, a lot has been processed, and a lot of things have occurred in terms of both collectively and individually. I know for myself, it's been a really illuminating time. It's helped me process emotions and also decide how to move on next in a really deeply intuitive way. So if you relate, let me know. And the last eclipse happened on the 21st of September, which was the solar eclipse in Virgo. However, this past week has not been easy, has it? Energetically, it's been really heavy, and it actually hasn't helped us really process too much because of that. This is because there was a square between Mars and Pluto going on, which brought a little bit of a sinister and dark energy into our lives. However, gladly, those times are over with the full moon in Aries. And this is why I really love astrology, because astrology shows me that after every bad day, there is always a good day. After every storm, there is always the rainbow. And this is something that goes on the daily. If you really study astrology and you realize the waves and the turns of the day-to-day cosmos, you really get to see how things shift and how things change, and how there's lower energetic frequency and then higher energetic frequency, things that bring you opportunities and that make your life easier, and aspects that may difficult your tasks and your ability to process emotions. But that is always oscillating and always ever changing. It's never the same, and that is really empowering because it makes you be able to be a little bit, well, wait a minute, if there is a difficult moment right now, I have faith and I'm sure, because the astrology is always changing, that there is going to be better times coming very, very soon. So that's very, very encouraging. So I'm really excited to talk about astrology today because of that. And the full moon in Aries is quite invigorating. It is in the first zodiac sign, which is Aries. And Aries represents the archetype of the cosmic child, the first energetic spark of the universe, the first manifestation into the 3D reality of God, the universe, the universal power. And how that energy is able to take action and build something in the 3D world. This is Aries for me. Aries is also the sign of the self and of acting in accordance to your true self. Aries are really honest, sometimes radically honest, and that can be really a blessing, because there is nothing quite as empowering as aligning with your true essence, which is what this full moon is going to be helping you to do. Full moons are about release, they're about letting go of things that no longer serve us. And so this time around, the release is going to be around things that no longer serve you, in terms of not being aligned with your true self. And how empowering is that? Because it is a huge cleanup of things that no longer fit the narrative of your life. And just like astrology, the narrative of your life is always changing. One day you may feel like you deserve to be following a certain path, and you set up a plan and you want to execute it exactly that way. And maybe you make 5-year plan, 10-year plans, all of that planning. But the beautiful thing about your life story, and can be also a little bit unsettling for people who are unflexible and unable to shift with the energetics, is that your plans may not stand the test of time, because things are always changing, you are always changing, and your story has to adapt according to how you are changing. And so the first thing that this full moon is really showing you is going to be how your life story has changed. You've navigated really difficult times, really difficult seasons, and maybe the plans that you've made have not have brought you where you are now, but they're not going to continue to be your plans. Maybe you've made a 5-year plan and now you're realizing 3 years in that you no longer want to be doing what you set up to do in that 5-year plan. And that is perfectly normal. It is perfectly okay. It is something that is actually supposed to happen. You're actually supposed to feel that way, because that is a good sign. It is a sign that you've changed. It is a sign that you've grown and that you've evolved, and that now you're ready to embrace new things into your journey. And being able to shift accordingly is actually the goal of your storytelling of your life. And so this can be a little bit of a chaotic energy, because maybe around this time you will feel called to doing something that no longer fits the narrative, and also the expectations that others have created around you, because you show a certain image that is normal, you have a certain reputation, you do certain things, and people start creating expectations and things that usually you will do. And so that algorithm is going to be disrupted. You are going to be disrupting the algorithm. And this is one of the things that is represented by one of the aspects, really natural to full moons, which is the opposition between the sun and the moon. So the moon in Aries is going to be directly opposing the sun in Libra. And this axis is going to be what is going to be developing this theme between how you may take action in according to your true self versus taking action in order to please others and to help others instead. So that is one of the big themes that you may be feeling during this full moon. Because Aries is such an impulsive sign, I would encourage you to take more than 5 seconds to make a decision, please. But also, if you're sure about a certain action that you want to be taking, this is the time to do it. It is going to be really powerful, especially around, I would give a really loose example. If you no longer relate to a job, for example, beginning to energetically shift out of the job, even if you physically don't quit the job right away, because we can't always do that. Maybe you need savings to do that first and plannings to do that first. That is natural. There is always a balance in these things between feeling like wanting to do something, being able to do it. But the energetic shift is really important. Maybe on an energetic level, you can release the things that no longer serve you, even if you can't physically release them. So taking that first step, really important. And the other aspect that is going to be going on during this full moon doesn't have a lot of aspects. I will be talking only about 3 aspects, which is really interesting as well, because there's not a lot of conversations to be had when it comes to being your true self. You are just your true self. That is how you are. This is it. You're just being. There's not much conversations and explanations around it. That is really interesting. But yes, another aspect that is going to be going on with the moon in Aries is the square between the moon and the Jupiter in Cancer. And this square is a tension point. It is not a really comfortable aspect. It is actually a disagreement between the 2 planets, Jupiter and the moon in this case. And this square is going to be highlighting the fact that if you decide to put your energy towards helping other people in terms of the toxic kind of helping, which is doing other people's push-ups for them. Maybe going and finding a job for your friend, maybe showing up at a gathering or a meeting for somebody because they called in sick. All of those things that help others in expense of yourself, it is going to be highlighting that if you put that energy towards those actions, you're actually depleting your energetic stores and you're not able to take action for the things that you want to be doing. And so how are you depleting your energy at the expense of helping other people? And the price is your own self and your ability to take action towards the things that you actually want to be doing and that is calling you to do. The most important thing is your intuition is calling you. Around full moons in general, your intuition is calling you to do something. Do something for yourself. Do something that is going to align you and make you balanced more and more with your true north. And if you're depleting your energy, you don't have any energy in order to put towards those actions that are aligned with you. And so it can be really empowering to shift that energy, decide to let other people do their own inner work and redirect the energy towards yourself around this time. And the last aspect I will be talking about is the full moon in Aries is going to be aspecting the IC point, which is the Imum Coeli point, a really interesting point of the chart of this full moon. It is going to be trining it in fact. And what is the Imum Coeli point? It is the point that represents the inner self and the inner aspects of the self. It can represent the inner child, your foundations, the way that you've been brought up, your natural ability to be yourself, your childhood, your legacy that you've inherited, all of those things. And the trine aspect with the full moon is actually a really harmonious aspect, and it is an aspect of opportunity, of cooperation, of alignment, and of growth. And so there's definitely this opportunity of you to align with actions and release things that no longer translate what your inner child wants to be doing. And so a specific way for you to be releasing things, if you're sitting here thinking, what am I supposed to be releasing during this full moon, is to look at how you used to be when you were a little kid. What were the things that excited you, that made you feel really happy, the things that you used to play with maybe, or ask your parents to go do, your hobbies. What makes you feel like you're a child again? What makes you feel like you're just so happy and bubbly and full of energy, just like when you were little? And aligning with doing those things around the full moon, because there's this really big conversation going on during this full moon between being yourself as an adult, following a life path of alignment, has everything to do and is directly correlated with your inner child and with the things that used to excite you when you were a kid. When we grow up, we start thinking that we're supposed to be dreaming for other people and we're supposed to be building a life of our own, but in this boxed in way, in accordance to what other people expect of us to do. Maybe we're expected to be married by a certain age, have your own house, have a car, have a job, have savings, certain amount of savings, and all of those things that are expected of you do not always align. Of course, you have to have a life path for yourself and have a plan loosely so you're not just floating through life, but all those things do not always align with what action you want to be taking right now. And having this discernment and ability to tell, am I actually depleting soul? Am I actually making my inner child so unhappy right now by taking this action? Being able to see that and decide to not act in that way, because you know that is going to deplete your soul and your inner resources, is very, very powerful. And all of those aspects are helping us to answer the initial question that I asked us all, and that the full moon is going to be asking us, which is, how does action become effortless? And the truth is that a lot of people have seemingly really easy lives where they are able to do all of the things that energize them and follow their dreams, have the abundance and the money, the financial opportunities, and also the energy in order to follow their dreams. Maybe a really simple example that I think about is, people think that people who have their own companies have it easy in comparison to people who work 9 to 5s and have a little bit more difficult and taxing jobs. And a really big shift that happens in the mentality of those people that make it look easy and then make it look effortless is that they're living in alignment. They're living in alignment. That is it. They're just choosing to take action, choosing to do the things, to follow the things that make them happy and that make them act in the highest of timelines with the highest frequency possible. So whereas somebody will have this little intuition of taking a guitar class or singing lessons, and it may feel like something so small, like I've never taken singing lessons, I don't know how to sing, I don't know how to play an instrument, I've never done this, why would I all of a sudden decide and feel intuitively that I need to do that? And whereas people who live in misalignment and live in a way that is actually not empowering, would choose to say, no, this doesn't make any sense, why would I be doing this, it's not in accordance to my lifestyle right now, I'm not going to do it. People who are connected to the inner self will actually understand that that is their subconscious sending them a message and telling them that this is going to be something helpful on their journey, and it's going to help them write their story going onwards. And that is how action becomes effortless. It is when you decide to follow your inner guidance, compass, system, whatever you want to call it, that sends you little messages and little small actions that you can take in order to align yourself in your day-to-day more and more. And the more you do that, the more you become aligned with a life that is closest to what your higher self would be experiencing, and the more easy life becomes, because you're able to see and live and fully be present for the things that actually matter and that actually bring you the most amount of energy, versus choosing difficult tasks, trips that you don't want to be taking, work trips, for example, things that deplete your energy, like certain hangouts with friend groups or jobs. And so how empowering is that? The bonus point of how will this full moon affect you personally, go to astroseek.com and look at your chart, your full circle chart. Wherever you have 14 degrees Aries in your birth chart, whichever house you have that degree in is going to be the aspect that is going to be affected in your life. So the life arena that is going to be impacted in your birth chart. For example, if you have 14 degrees Aries in your second house, you may feel called to release ways of making money and obtaining income that no longer resonate with you. That is just an example. So let me know which house the full moon is going to be in for you. And now I want to read the tarot. I'm going to take one card that is going to be telling us and guiding us and giving us more information about this full moon. So I have here my tarot. let's see what the cosmos wants to tell us, what the universe wants to tell us. What is the one card energy that we can take here? Universe, please help us about this full moon in Aries. I love to do these readings at the end of the videos because it's almost as if it's a really surprise. I never know what card is going to come out. It is always really, really surprising because sometimes it is a energetic that I did not expect at all, which is so interesting. Okay, so I got the bottom of the deck is the Sun, which in fact I would more be inclined to expect this card to come out, which is the Sun. The Sun is about being yourself in the most raw, true, authentic way possible, which is what we were talking about here today about this full moon. And it's really interestingly at the bottom of the deck. If you don't know, guys, the bottom of the deck is the energetic that we're not expecting, that we're least expecting. And actually this is the energy that we mostly talked about during this video. So as you can tell, this is a really aligned channel because we're talking about things that people wouldn't usually talk about and notice. And this is the power of astrology, you guys. The power of astrology is being able to aligning with astrology means aligning with the things that people don't usually expect that are going on, and they don't know because they're a little bit occult as they actually are, and we're only able to access them through teachings like astrology and tarot. It's really beautiful. This is really beautiful. It's really empowering as well. And the card that came out as a theme for this full moon is the Seven of Pentacles. It is a card about mastery, repetition, doing things as many times as possible in order to become really good at doing them. And what this makes me think about is how practicing becoming yourself. This is what comes to mind, is the more that you choose things and actions and people that align with you, that make you feel really, really happy and over the moon happy, that make you feel just you giggling and you're happy and you're smiling in front of the mirror and you're smiling receiving the text messages, the more that you take action and allow people in your life that make you feel that way, the more you will be able to do that with time. The first time around may be a little bit difficult because you may be used to struggling, you may be used to aligning with things that make you feel limited and small and unhappy and like you need to complain all the time. But the more that you choose to align consciously, to reject, because people will always be coming into your life. People in situations that are not aligned with you are always going to be trying to enter your life. You have to learn to discern them and see that they're not for you and reject them. Say no, thank you, and move on. And then when you see an opportunity or a person that you just feel so happy around and so free to be yourself and so liberated to take that opportunity, to take that action, to follow that crazy nudge, to take singing lessons when you've never actually sung in your life, to do all of that, that is following that little nudge becomes more and more easy, and you are more and more aligned with your true self. This is so exciting. It's so energetically charged, this full moon. It's so representative of the Sun card for me, for real. This is it. This is the full moon in Aries. It's so honest, it's so true to self, and it's so invigorating. That is it from me for this full moon in Aries. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you on our next chat here on YouTube.